But God starts his in spring, the month of Aviv, or Nisan, the month of Passover, new life, rebirth, resurrection. God's month is from new moon to new moon. To some, the new moon is when there is no moon. But we believe it is the first time we see the crescent on the right side after there is no moon. This is up for debate, but does not change the fact that God's month does go from new moon to new moon as proved by the Bible. Isaiah 66:23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. In summary, God's day is from even to even, that is, sunset to sunset. And God's month goes from new moon, all through the phases during the month, and then again back to the first visible crescent of the new moon. Now that we know when the month starts, let's look at the names of the months. The first month is Aviv or Nisan, in Exodus 12:2. In Exodus 13:4, it has the name Aviv, or Aviv in Hebrew, which means spring. Nisan is in Esther chapter 3, verse 7. The second month is Ziv, or Ziv in Hebrew. It's in 1 Kings 6:1. It's not Ayar, which is in Judaism. The third month is Sivan. It is in Esther 8, verse 9. The fourth month is Tammuz. It's not in the Bible, and is the name of a false god. The fifth month is Av. It's not named in the Bible. It's made up in Judaism. The sixth month is Elul, which is also not named in the Bible and made up in Judaism. The seventh month is Ethanim. That's in 1 Kings 8:2. It's not Tishrei, which is Judaism. The eighth month is Bul. That's in 1 Kings 8, verse 38. It's not Kesvan, which is in Judaism. The ninth month is Kislev. That's in Zechariah 7:1. The 10th month is Tebeth. That's in Esther 2:16. The 11th month is Shabbat. That's in Zechariah 1:7. The 12th month is Adar. That's in Esther 3:7. When necessary, there's a leap year. And when this happens, there's a 13th month called Adar 2. Now that you know that God has his own calendar, isn't it sad that the churches have erased it? God's feasts are according to his calendar.
All right, we'll come back to that a little bit later, but we'll get started here. From the beginning. So, and the reason that I wanted to talk about this is, of course, we're coming up to what the church calls the time of Easter, and which Easter, of course, isn't the name that it's not the feast of the Lord. That it's not what it's not what the Lord calls it. All right, the Lord calls it Pesha, and that word was translated Passover. Wow, like Tyndale, William Tyndale, when he first did his translation back in 600. That's the first time that word was used, but that word expresses the full meaning of what that particular feast was. If we were trying to do it in Hebrew, we would call it Pesach, I think. If Sandy Kaplinski was here, I'm sure she'd be laughing. But let me see if this works. It didn't work. I think my battery's dead on this one. I didn't see the thing, and I don't know where the case is for the thing. Maybe this thing. This is the one that I carry, and of course I carry one that doesn't work.
We put it away last week, I remember.
Oh, here.
Because I remember asking Shirley, and she said, "Yeah, that stays here." So it has to be in there somewhere.
Well, it's not.
You want me to just clip it?
Okay, where's the plastic box then?
Oh.
Oh, maybe this will be a new battery that'll work. Barnabas, with technological difficulties. That's what makes us what we are.
What?
No, I don't think so. I didn't hear. I didn't hear this thing. Ah, there we go. That's a good sound. No, that's not, that doesn't work with the computer. Well, I wonder if it's this thing. I don't know. Okay. Oh. All right, well, can I sit here? I guess I need to press the button. That's weird. How come that didn't work? Well, that was a dead battery because I'm not my laser. My cat.
We were going to buy some and leave them up here.
Okay. Back to it. Here we go. Yeah, don't check your lasers like this. That's fine. So there's all kinds of different ways to try to show the calendaring system and where the feasts of the Lord show up. So this is just one way. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways. We're going to talk about the feasts of the Lord. I want you to make sure that you kind of have that in your mind. There's a lot of places that would say, well, these are churches that don't, they put down churches because they say they don't talk about sin. They don't talk about the feasts of the Lord. They don't talk about prophecy. Well, in this group, we talk about all of that. So let's talk about sin for a second. Because we used to have up here, we put up a screenshot of the 10 Commandments. So let's just rehearse the 10 Commandments. Remember? It's divided how? How are they divided? Four. The first four are sins against God. And the next four are also, or the next six rather, are also sins against God, but they involve sins against mankind. All right? So let's talk about the first of the 10 Commandments. Because it's just good to rehearse these things. We should have these in our mind. So, the first commandment is that thou shalt have no gods before me. I got one of these things.
You're cheating.
Yeah, I know. Do not worship any other gods. Cheating is not on here. I guess there it is. Do not.
Yeah, it is. That's
do not. Okay, number 2. What's the second one? No idols. Don't make any idols. We think, oh, we don't do that, but we do in our. We make up idols all the time. I mean, and it's not even. I don't think it's even beyond the pall to say, one of the. I mean, the most popular show in America is called American Idol. We make idols of everything. So don't think just because you don't have a little image around that you don't make idols. We make idols all over the place, and we make idols of our time, our entertainment. And so, but do not have any idols before me. Don't put anything before God. The third one.
Did I take the name of God? Remember the Sabbath day?
No.
Lord, third one is.
The third one is don't blaspheme. Don't use the name of the Lord in vain. All right. For Christians, I think this is important because you apply the name Christian to you, and then you live a life that's not Christian. You are blaspheming in a sense because you're using the name of the Lord in vain. Now, we think of it as swearing and doing all that. Well, most of us don't have problems, and those that do are working on it too.
Does that mean in traffic too?
In traffic too. It's funny. My brother-in-law, I just found out that he had an injury. He's taken up carving, and he had an injury where he was using a 4-inch grinder, and the thing kicked back, and he nearly lost his pointer finger, and it even got a tendon in the middle finger. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, Steve, this is really important. I said, you need your pointing finger when you're preaching about sin, And I said, you need your middle finger when you're driving. And
Esther says, oh, I get it.
So anyway, here's the months. Nisan, Ayar, Abib was that one. Tishri, all these different names, and it's interesting. Some of these names are actually named in Scripture, but other of them are not. It's kind of funny that God has a calendar, but He kind of only points out the months that are important. So we have the first month.